Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Admiral. Thank you for your many years of service. Thank you for being here today. I'd like to spend my limited time this morning on our national defense strategy. The Trump administration recently released its National Defense Strategy report, and the unclassified version says that, quote, long-term strategic competitions with China and Russia are the principal priorities for the Department of Defense. The strategy stresses the need to modernize existing equipment, invest in advanced capabilities, and enhance the readiness of the joint force for a high-end fight. Admiral, I know you've been focused on managing the challenge posed by China, but your area of responsibility also includes China's neighbor, North Korea. Many analysts estimate that a conflict on the Korean Peninsula could bog us down for years, degrading our equipment and potentially resulting in thousands of casualties, both to our allies and to our own troops. So let me ask, Admiral, what would be the impact of a long-term conflict on the Korean Peninsula on our ability to prepare for a high-end conflict like the kind described in the defense strategy?
Thank you, Senator. I do believe that a conflict on the Korean Peninsula will result in thousands of casualties. Yes. And I believe that China could be opportunistic in terms of what they do in their area if we were bogged down in Korea. But I don't believe that we should allow our concern or fear for what could happen with China detract us from our treaty obligations with South Korea and to defending our own homeland, which is the threat posed by North Korea.
I appreciate that, Admiral. I'm asking about the difficulties that are posed here. So let me just ask a different question related to this. Would we be able to maintain our technological investments to counter China if we were engaged in a sustained ground war in North Korea?
I think we would be able to do that.
You know, I was glad to see the President's renewed interest in diplomacy last week. I'm not sure if he recognizes the enormous complexity of these negotiations and the fact that a breakthrough may not occur overnight, but I think we should all be hoping for success because a ground war on the Korean Peninsula would be devastating to our long-term strategic interests in the Indo-Pacific region and around the world. Admiral Harris, while I have you, and I still have 2 minutes left, I want to ask one other question. I know that you support CFIUS, which reviews acquisitions by foreign companies for threats to our national security, and you support reform to capture a wider range of transactions and technologies, particularly as they relate to China. You have made the point that China is blurring the lines between military and civilian activity and exploiting America's open system to gain access to sensitive technologies. I agree with you that we need to protect our most advanced technologies, but there are two sides to this coin. Our adversaries will be interested in stealing from us only as long as we continue to produce the most innovative science and technology in the world. You know, and being at the top of that heap is not a guarantee. It is not a birthright. And in fact, right now, China is also investing heavily in R&D, including in areas like physics, robotics, high-performance computing, nanoscience. So, Admiral, do you think that government investment in research and development helps maintain our military advantage, and would we improve our chances of maintaining technological superiority over China by increasing our R&D investments in advanced technologies?
I do. Senator, I'll also add that government investment can't be the only source of innovation in the United States, and it hasn't been in the past, nor should it be in the future. I'm a big supporter of what we colloquially call CFIUS 2.0. I wrote a letter to Senator Cornyn about FIRMA, the new law on this. I believe we have to be sensitive to our open society and what that does for our adversaries, how the advantages that it gives our adversaries. In terms of China, that's manifested in both technology and technological change, and in a Chinese acquisition of large tracts of land that are adjacent to our training and electronic ranges.
Yeah. Well, I do see this as both sides, and I think we're in agreement on this, that on the one hand, we've got to be very sensitive about what they're trying to steal from us, but on the other, we've got to continue and even, I believe, ratchet up our investments so that we maintain our technological superiority.
Absolutely. No argument from me on that.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. Thank you, Admiral.